Hello, Mzanzi. Welcome to ItuzaTalk. This is the first episode of ItuzaTalk podcast. ItuzaTalk is just gonna be a podcast that it talks about technology, talks about the new tech products, talks about different things about tech for business, tech for schools, tech for home, and things like that. So there's not many of these podcasts here in South Africa, so mine is going to be focused on providing you the latest technology updates, right? Before we waste time, today's episode is gonna be a very, very short episode. It's gonna be a very, very short episode because this is just an introductory episode. There's not much of research that went into today's episode, since we decided to go ahead with the podcast yesterday. So today I just decided let me just shoot, and then tomorrow we upload this very, very same episode. So this is episode number 1 on ItuzaTalks. You need to put that name into your head so that whenever we talk about technology, you know it's your boy Itumeleng talking about technology. So that's why we call it ItuzaTalks, right?
Chimane baga pari pere chama jeremane Bajile mashila ma italiane Yala yua se khoare nchale nyora Baby boy swag cremanyora.
So before we waste any more time, today we're going to be talking about the September event for Apple, right? This is where the new iPhone is going to be launched and is going to be displayed. People are going to see how it looks like, and it's going to be an in-person event. You know, because of COVID in the past few years, Apple events have always been virtual. I mean, have recently been virtual, so people were not going. So this year it's an in-person event, so people have been invited, right? And as usual, with Apple, the invite always tells you a story of what approximately are they going to talk about, right? This year, the invite is like it's always an Apple logo. So even this year, it's an Apple logo, but it's an Apple logo looking like some sandy material, but the material is shining like it's like some sort of mineral, right? So with the rumors that are out there now about the new iPhone, I think it's because they are going to be talking about titanium a lot, right? As you may know, the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus, they are having an aluminum frame, right? And then iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, they have a stainless steel. Apparently, this year the iPhone 15 is gonna have a titanium frame, and then Pro and Pro Max are gonna have the titanium steel, and then we're gonna have the aluminum ones from iPhone 14 moving to the steel frame, right? So that is what I make out of the invite, right? The first thing we should talk about is iPhone 15, right? iPhone 15 is going to be the first phone I'm talking about today because that is the entry level of iPhones. Right? Firstly, let me do this. We're gonna have 4 iPhones, right? iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Plus, iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 15 Pro Max. And there is a rumor that the Pro Max will no longer be called Pro Max and it will be called Ultra. This is coming from the fact that with the fastest or the most powerful Apple Watch, it's called Apple Watch Ultra, right? So we think it's not just me. A lot of people on the internet are thinking the same. It's gonna be called iPhone 15 Ultra. But you know, these are just rumors, so it might end up just being called iPhone 15 Pro Max, but we'll see. So let's start with iPhone 15, right? iPhone 15 is going to be 6.1-inch screen, but instead of the notch on top, we're going to have a dynamic island this year on all the iPhones from iPhone 15 to iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? That is the biggest rumor that is okay, maybe not the biggest, but that is the very prominent rumor that is out there. We're gonna have dynamic island on all the phones, right? So 6.1-inch screen, dynamic island, and thinner bezels, which means screen to body ratio is gonna be very, very, very big. It's gonna improve, like it's gonna be very, very thin. It's gonna be hard to see the bezels around the screen. So, which means the body of the phone might be a little bit smaller because the bezels are now smaller, right? Fine. And it's gonna have some rounded edges. You see, iPhone 14, it's very harsh in the hand because it has a lot of, like, it has corners, right? It's it's mentioned in most of the rumors that the iPhone 15 is gonna be more accommodating to the hand, so it's gonna be have rounded corners, right? That is another fact. Another fact that is coming again is um, we are told, because of the European Union issue, and I'm sure some of you might have heard that the European Union has won the case to force Apple to drop the Lightning port. The Lightning port is the port that came after the old 30 pin from the iPhone 4s. When iPhone was moving from iPhone 4 to iPhone 5, they dropped the old 30 pin that used to work on the old iPhones, the old iPads, the old iPods, So they all moved to Lightning. And now Apple has been forced that they must drop the Lightning and move to USB Type C like all the other Androids, right? This is an attempt to reduce e-waste, because they say if now I have a Samsung and I have an iPhone, I am forced to have two chargers, right? But if I have a Samsung and I have an iPhone that also charges on USB Type C, we are now gonna let's say I'm gonna have one cable. So when that cable is no longer working, it's gonna be one cable that I throw away. So that will reduce the two cables that I was gonna be throwing away. That causes e-waste. I don't know much about that, but that is what has been said about Apple and the European Union. When it comes to specs, right? The iPhone 15 is gonna be on A16 chip, right? The A16, and it's gonna have 6 GB of LPDDR5 RAM, and then it's gonna have a better battery, of course, and it's gonna have a U chip inside, and the cameras are gonna be improved from the 13. I mean, from the 14, right? I don't have the specs of the cameras because these are just estimations and rumors. And then it's gonna have a better battery, and I hear that they've actually improved the battery optimization, so the battery will last longer, even if the battery is not that big from the previous version of iPhone, right? The other feature on the iPhone 15, right? In fact, this feature I think applies on all the iPhones that are going to come out. iPhone has this mute switch on the side. You push it forward to be ringing, and then you push it backwards to be mute, right? That mute switch is going to change. It's no longer going to be a switch that moves. It's going to be a static button. It's going to be a static button that you press, and apparently you're going to be able to program that button to do other things as well. So that is what I've heard. If you look at the Apple Watch Ultra, it has that button where you can program that button to do a lot of things, to start an exercise, to take a photo, you can program it to do whatever you want it to do, right? So that is all about iPhone 15. Now we're going to be moving to iPhone 15 Plus. As per usual, if you check the iPhone 14 Plus, it's exactly the same as the iPhone 14, but the only difference is got the bigger screen and it's got the bigger battery, right? Because of the size, of course. So that is just all. So everything else is gonna remain the same as the iPhone 15, right? It's gonna have a 6.7-inch screen, and it's gonna have 6 GB of LPDDR5 RAM as well, and then better battery, here and there. But that is what we know currently about the iPhone 15 Plus, right? Now we move to the bigger boys. We move to the Pro versions of iPhone 15 Pro. That is also going to be on a 6.1-inch display, but the display is gonna be ProMotion with dynamic island as well. And if you check, the body is going to be made out of titanium instead of aluminum. It's going to be made out of titanium. So I've seen a lot of renders online, people having iPhones that can slide, people having iPhones that can fold. Forget about that for this year. iPhones are just going to be iPhones the way we know them, apart from the small differences that I'm giving to you now. That is all I know about the iPhone 15 Pro. But the biggest thing is that it is also moving to the USB Type-C. But then I have heard that Apple is manufacturing its own Type-C cable, its own proprietary cable that Apple like exclusivity. They're gonna give you this cable and they say this cable will charge faster, it will communicate better with the iPhone. But I think the old type C will still work from the Android and the what world. But with Apple, they always want to be exclusive. They are gonna tell you that this cable is going to be charging your iPhone faster. This cable is going to be transferring your files faster from the iPhone to the computer and stuff like that. So now the only thing left to talk about out of all these iPhone releases is iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? There's a big rumor that the iPhone 15 Pro Max is no longer going to be called that. It will be called the iPhone 15 Ultra. This is because the latest Apple Watch is called Apple Watch Ultra. That is the most powerful Apple Watch. So the most powerful iPhone, there's a rumor that it will now be called iPhone 15 Ultra. So we'll see. So I'm looking forward to this event. I'm actually planning to attend the live screening of this event at iStore in Sandton on the 12th. I'm not sure I'm gonna make it, but I have registered, and if everything goes well, I'm going to attend that event, cover whatever it needs to be covered. But I always watch this event live on Apple website when they launch. But this time I think I need to be there in person with other people that are love Apple, people who are enthusiastic about Apple. I need to be around them and see the reception of the new iPhone, and if possible also create some content for you guys and interview some few people and see how that turns out. So ladies and gentlemen, this is basically what I wanted to share with you on this episode of ItuzaTalks, right? Guys, I'm gonna need you to follow this YouTube page. It's a new YouTube page, but it's gonna give you some smart information about technology. And I appreciate you. You've been you've been very responsive when it comes to my tech ideas on TikTok and on Instagram and things like that. So I am very appreciative. I appreciate you guys, and I will always try and put out the best content I can about these new technological developments. We're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about Internet of Things. We're going to be talking about big data. We're going to be talking about quantum computing. I'm going to try my best and get you as best information as possible. So guys, thank you for watching tonight's episode. Subscribe to this channel and you are gonna get information about technology, the latest things. Until we meet again.